All right, good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? I hope everybody's doing well. Hope you can hear me okay. In just a minute, we're going to get started here. Hey, Lars02 and Gordon Leon Marks, Zolzamar, Pistol Packer, Mamelar, Badzilla. Welcome, everybody. Uh, yeah, I got kind of busy Friday. Actually, I went out to the drive-ins with some friends, so I didn't do Friday's show, but I'm here today to make up for it a little bit. And also, I've been working all week on trying some new things to see if we can get a couple of new features into the map. And so there really isn't a lot to show, but I do have some good news. So I wanted to get out there and fill you guys in on everything. I hope, let me crank my volume up a little bit more there so you guys can hear me. All right, so here we are. Game is paused. Let's start the game. One of the things I've been working on this week is the buildable factories. Now, this is just a test sample of the concrete factory, and I'm going to show you how it will work this time. We will be bringing the buildable factories back into the map. You can see some buildings are appearing. Let me slow down time for a minute. Uh, some buildings are appearing on this slab here. I'm over at the concrete place, and you will see the drop-off box. Now, because this is a test, right now you will see if I walk up to the box, it's going to take 200,000 gravel, stone, sand, and water, and I already pre-filled it so we could get through this demonstration pretty quick. And it's going to create concrete, which eventually is actually going to change to some type of money, be it gold. So you're going to get paid actually for building the factories, but I put it to something that's in the map currently. And the ore is going to be the percent of the project that is actually completed. So it'll say project where it says ore down here in the bottom left hand corner of the F1 menu. So I do have this one. It starts off, they're going to start off, some of them, with the fence already pre-built. So just be aware of that. And objects will be popping up like they did in the past. Hey, Zero for Paul, how you doing? So you would come in and drop off in the square. The triggers are all there. You can't see them, but they're there. And I'm going to give you an idea. We're going to run through this factory pretty quick. And while we're doing it, we'll explain a few other things to you guys. And I'm going to show you the building process by flying. I think I got my flying mode set up. Yeah, so you can watch the factory get built. There's already a few pieces on the foundation for this factory. So we're going to be working on a version 3, which has all the factories being built, plus uh, you're going to have to do a restart because of the several changes that are being made. So version 3 sometime later this summer hopefully will be completed. We'll be working on it one factory at a time until we get them done, and I am actually using the fabric script to build the factories with some workarounds, and we'll explain those to you as well. So I'm going to fast forward, and it takes roughly about 2 days for the whole factory to be built. And you can watch it appear as the time. I'll speed up the time and we'll watch it just slowly appear. Now, the first four things, what they are doing, because they're blocking the actual triggers for the factory when it is built, those boxes. The little workers are showing up, and there is a way to remove those after the factory is finished. So you can see in the background, the factories are going to appear slower this time if there's, depending on how many pieces it takes to build the factory, is how long it's going to, how much is going to show at one time. And this cement factory has tons of individual pieces, so they're all going to come in one at a time until the factory is completely built. Hey KW, how's it going? So this is the first thing that's coming. While we're here watching this factory slowly build over time, those of you who got the update last broadcast for the version 1.2, we screwed up the cranes in it, and that is one thing that I wanted to take care of before we get working on the rest of the well, version 3. So you guys can play your current version until version 3 comes out, which will come out whenever I get all the factories completed, along with the museum completed and more storage solutions. That's all going to go into version 3. But for tonight, same as last week, exclamation point link 1, exclamation point link 2, and exclamation point link 3 and exclamation point link 4 will get you an updated copy of the map that has all of the cranes back in functioning order. Thanks to Lars on our server for taking care of that. Just make sure you spread out those links so that not everybody's grabbing the same one, and we won't have any problems. If one goes down because too many people access it, then you'll have to try one of the other three. Uh, Also, in that update, as it's well, you guys are getting it. The we discussed on the Johnson farm. You see the crane just appeared back there. We discussed on the Johnson farm moving the hangars away from the silos there, so you can get the. And thank you for the subscription, Big Rod K99 for 6 months. Thank you so much for your continued support. So yeah, before you do your update, empty the two hangars up on Johnson Farm and pull everything uh, away because it's going to slide further away from the bunkers that are on the farm to give you guys some room to drive your overloaders down the side. So that's really the only changes in this current version because pretty much all week I've been trying to figure out how to get factories built back in here because it's one of those things that most people really, really miss on the map. So here we have it, and it's working a little bit differently. You can see one guy is walking around there. He's going to be there forever. And what you don't see is there are little objects that appear every now and then. Some of them you don't like on the crane over there. Each of those feet appeared individually. The blocks at the end of the rails. So depending on how many different pieces the factory has is how slow it's going to actually appear. And this one has several. Now, if things stop, then I will have to, because I made one change, I don't know if it's going to work completely. I have to figure out if it is, but I can get it back running. We'll see if things stop when, basically, I cut down one of the fill types to, I'm going to come over to the box. It might be at 100% already. Yeah, see the concrete is at 100% or is only at 10%. So the factory stops. Concrete is going to be your payment. And I will change it back up to 200%. But for now, let's grab some money. Let's see, we got to get out of that menu to grab money. And let's grab, let's see, AR equipment, a Volvo. And we'll grab the one dolly for now and a couple cement mixers. Now I was toying whether or not we give out the product that one of the products that the factory actually uses in the process, or if I give out money instead. So I've decided I'm still testing to see what you guys would think. Would you rather get cash or have a little bit of? Did I get the right one? Why is that not giving me a trigger? Maybe I need the other Volvo, which is possible. Is it installed here? No, it is not. Let's see. I'll put it on the dolly. That should work. I'm using some files. I don't even know what I'm using, so we'll get this to work though. So the factory will give you some sort of payment for building it, whether it's one of the products that's in it, which will have to be emptied periodically to continue the building process. And we'll go over there and show you how that's done. Nope, this one here is not released, and it's going to be a work in progress. It'll be version 3. Oops, I got to find my road. It'll be version 3 of the game, and it will require a restart because we'll have all buildable factories. And this is just the first test, literally trying to figure out ways to do it with the Fabric script and the scripts we have available. And this is what I came up with, and I wanted to show you guys how that's going to work. So on every factory, there's going to be a trigger outside the factory that will be used only during the building process, and I stuck concrete in this one. So if I pull over here, maybe not. Where's my trigger? Did I move it? Oh, I think I just had it. And start filling my machine. You can see once I do that, the factory building process will start back up again. And what I'm going to do is make it so you get actually paid, probably gold, to bring to the bank for doing your work as you're building the factory. When the factory's built, you're also going to have to use it. You're going to have to buy it again afterwards anyway, so you can put the money or whatever we give you from building it toward the purchase of it when it's done. Now, what that means also is all the factories are going to have to be reordered and unlocked in different times because different factories will require, and I'm going to need more than one cement mixer, that's for sure, because this one's almost full. But you can see more of the factories starting to appear. All right. So we'll come over here. You can see a couple more buildings popped up. And it's going to take quite a while to build. You're going to have to be active in the building process and empty it. I'll still messing with the numbers, so don't panic. But once concrete gets up to 200% again, which it goes pretty fast, or 100%, it needs to be emptied in order to keep the building process going. And we are doing fast forward mode, so you can see it's slowly appearing. It'll get dark a couple days. It's going to take at least a couple days. Let's see. We're almost there. We're going to need quite a few cement mixers. I wish that the Volvo would pick it up. I don't know why it's not. I have a different version, apparently. So the buildables will work, but we do need to have a trigger. And the reason behind this trigger, and I'll show you the next time through in the daylight, is there's two reasons. First of all, let me see if I can get on the trigger again. It says, where are you? I should have made an easier product for the demo. Whoops. Yeah, there we go. Finish filling this one up and we'll get another one. We're going to need 8 of these, it looks like. 25,000 a piece, and it takes 200,000 to build the factory. So there's one. Let me disconnect that one and get myself a line of these things ready. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. That should get our factory finished. Let's drive around. And you'll see it as we come back more and more appearing on the slab. Now, there's a reason for the output product as well. And if I made a post of a couple things that would solve that issue, but I don't have it. I don't know if any script writers are out there that want to try to their luck with the Fabric script and doing an edit that allows a input product to have an initial fill value. That would solve the problem of having to offload a product at the factories all the time, because I could start it with the proper mount. And there is a reason to have that product there, and that is to block the triggers from the actual factory working until it's done. Let's see. I'm going to try to grab a couple of these here. I'm going to stop time because I'm sure the factory is full over there. Let me switch, get another dolly. Whoops, didn't want to do that. We'll run a couple at a time. I'm guessing that I just bought the... Let me try something here. I'm going to buy one more Volvo. I think I bought it with the wrong hitch types. Both three front PTO trail... maybe not. We'll just go with what I have. All right. We'll get another one on here. Nope, the concrete is going to be changed. This is test mode. It's going to be changed to a payment for building the concrete factory. I just used the concrete as a test. I'm going to, because we don't have gold in the map yet, and so you're going to get paid to build the factories with something like gold, maybe just moolah or who knows what I'll use. But I have to add the fill type, and I didn't have time to do it because literally I just finished up this to make sure it would test okay for you guys about a half hour ago. So the fill type is just temporary. You won't be doing this for this one. It'll be a fill type that you have to basically collect your wages for your work every now and then to continue the building process. And I might bump it up to like 50,000 capacity so you don't have to do it as many times rather than 20. But like I said, it's all in the process of still working it out and trying to find better ways. Yep. The plan is to replace concrete with gold so you get paid for building your factory. So if we pull up here, and if I can get the trigger again, which apparently the cement mixers are a little tricky. But I wanted to show you something. You see the buildings in the background, the box buildings that are there? They are actually, while we're filling this up, let me jump in there and show you. Hopefully they work. I haven't tested that to see. But what will happen is these will disappear, and they're not yet. There goes one. You see how they're disappearing? That's what's going to allow you, because underneath those is where the triggers are to operate the new factory when it's built. So immediately they're going to reappear every time you take out your payment. The workers come back and they do a little bit more. It's just, imagine that's what's happening. So that's the reason for it, so that you can't operate this factory invisible until it's completely built. And the only way to do that was to have that additional product that needs to be emptied to block off all the triggers, because the triggers don't remove. I can show you kind of in the process here. Let's see, we'll get the F5. You can see the box the yellow box for the trigger of the new factory is already there. And I wanted to make it so you couldn't just pull up all the time and start buying and operating the factory. So those boxes are going to be only available for a short time whenever you empty the money. And that's the only way. You can see them all getting blocked off again as we go around because we're building again. So it'll make it much more difficult to access all the products. And I'm going to have to probably put a couple more in because there's a couple more triggers. But they'll be positioned. Like I said, it was really a last minute thing. Factory continues to get built. And you continue to empty it. You can see more and more is appearing. As long as you take your payment out, whatever gold is in here to bring to the bank, a gold will have to be tweaked a little bit, the prices and everything. Let's see. Trigger, please. There. Whoops. And we'll fill up this one, and then we'll go get a couple more. And that will keep the factory building. Until everything is back on the slab and functional. So the process does work. It's different than the last process because we have to use the fabric script, but it is completely functioning and you can actually see the factory slowly returning to the way it was. So what this means is that we're going to have to take all of the factories and remake them basically so that they work like this and function like this, which is going to take some time. We're also going to have to reorder them. The cement factory takes just sand, gravel, stone, and water to start building the cement factory because you're going to want to build this one first. Then we can use cement in the other factories. So we're going to unlock the factories with building products first, which means that I think I'm leaving Cogent always open, but we have the steel mill, the furniture factory can be used, the gypsum factory can be used as well. So over time, we will open up all those, and that's the first part that's coming in. Getting it so that the building factories are first. What does that mean for the process as we're building is that, let me ditch these couple of mixers, is that we're going to also, as I was playing, and I don't know about you, but I played a lot too earlier this week with the guys just to get a better feel for the economy. And we have pretty much come to the conclusion that even with a crew of several people, you could never possibly get all these factories running at the same time. It's just way too much work. So during the recreation process, you're going to always, the initial products that are used to build factories, such as the cement and the steel and the wall, the drywall, and we have planks and particle chipboard at the furniture place as well. All those initial factories are not going to lose speed, so you can always have, they're going to be made pretty quickly. And their prices are going to drop, so you're not getting paid as much to do them. Now, the additional factories, the Frito-Lay, the beer, and those factories, their production rate is going to slow down dramatically. It's not going to take you any more product, but we're just going to slow them down quite a bit so that you guys can actually not have to work. I mean, I've been solely working on the beer factory myself all the time. So you can finish one up, fill one up, and then move on to the next one. But at the same point, we're going to adjust the prices so that when it does output, you get a better price for those final products after the factory's built. And that will also give you more incentive to upgrade the factories for their speed because that capability is there, but on our map right now, there's really no need to use it. So if you do have factories you want to run a little bit more, uh, then run a little faster, create a little bit more product, then that'll be an option. So there's going to be a complete overhaul of the factories and their speed that they produce and the amount and the order. It's tons. With that being said, I've got another thing to show you after this factory is... I keep going the wrong way. Let's try this way. Uh, there's other things that I plan on getting into version 3 as well. The storage uh, will be finished, as well as the museum. So those of you who have banners and stuff, I plan on version 3 being probably the last version before moving on to a new map, unless we have some new features or tweaks we want to add to it later. But I want to, after the summer is done, hopefully for the winter, start a new project, and we'll see how that all pans out. I'm going to come in here, see if I can hit my trigger, get my cement out, and let's fast forward and see if we can get this factory building. See, that just popped right back up. The important thing is to not stray far from the box, because if you're over top of one of those buildings when it pops in, you know what happens. You get launched into outer space. In the past, we had a lot more stuff going on during the building process, but the building with cranes and stuff, and we might add some of that in, but it makes it very confusing to drive around. I have not even tested this uh, with the Seasons mod, so I don't know if what is compatible and what isn't at this point. So I'll take a look at it eventually, but it would be nice. I used it a while ago, but not with this script set. If it can't be done with these scripts, then it won't be done. So you can see my factory is starting to be built even more as we empty my concrete. And like I said, we'll adjust the numbers so you get gold instead and you'll be able to run to the bank. Any new factories? Yes, actually there will. But once this is done, I'll discuss, because I got to show you some more details about that. And we do have the ability with another secret thing that we found. Again, thanks to Lars. Thank you, X-Man, for 12 months, a whole year. Thank you for your continued support, X-Man 1971. I super appreciate it. It's been a huge help. So you can see, even though it's dark, we're going to fill this one up, and then we'll go and grab a couple more. But the factory is slowly appearing before your eyes. And once it's done, this trigger will be left here and inaccessible, so that that's the only way around it. If I didn't have a trigger here, I wouldn't be able to block off the make it difficult to use the factory even though it's invisible. So onward, we're almost full here. Keep building this factory. WP Docket, thank you for the host. Good to see you tonight. When it's built, you will have to buy it, but you will also get money for building it. You'll be buying it just like you are now. Prices will be configured and based on the order that they're unlocked and everything. So it'll be a little bit different process. You don't have to buy it. You can operate it just like you would before. It stays in this menu. You could see it. It's there. Uh, Concrete factory is, where are we? Da, 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 da. It's in here somewhere. Oh, right on the bottom. You can see it's there. Now this is the one I wanted to show you. They have cow. They're buying. Yeah, don't pay attention to that. This was just a test again. That is supposed to be a different product, but I got it so the factory actually can take cows. So that will have, now that I let the cat out of the bag, with some work on that, and I filled it up too, we will be able to bring back Campbell's in some sort of form. We will have Campbell's back in the map with the meat products from the animals. So we'll be able to use our animals in the map once again, which is kind of awesome. And we'll be able to bring back Campbell's and any of those factories that needed the pepperoni sausage, with the exception of chickens. I do have an idea for bringing chickens back using the egg mod that's out there that was put out for Easter, and then bringing the eggs to a breeding place. But I don't know if I'm going to do chickens just because of the custom trailers that would need to be made. So we might do rework the soup so we don't have any chicken noodle or stuff. But when it comes down to it, we will have all the other animal products other than chickens, and we'll bring back the mutton soup or whatever it was from the sheep instead. We'll have sheep go over to there. So that is the first thing. Second thing is, I have a list of the products that don't have current factories that I want to have factories, and they will be looked at as well, which are lavender, and with the lavender, I want to bring in bees as well to make wax and make lavender candle, have a candle factory. So somebody actually mentioned that there's buildable beehives. I want to check that out. If not, I know how. I want to do it myself. I would like it so that you have to purchase the bees on a pallet and hand carry them over, drop them in the trigger to stock the beehives to make the honey and the wax. And we'll use honey and wax into two products as well. I mean, into the candles and with the lavender. So lavender is one, and that's one way around it, bringing in some type of candle factory and some bees to make some wax and make some nice lavender scented candles. Second would be the peanuts. We want to do something with peanuts so that peanuts have a factory, probably just some peanut butter, something along that line. Whoa! Thank you, Rotors!
To throw a dirty skin over the current boxes and also make a semi-trailer that could haul the goods with labeling and such, like the air box is just 60K cap?
Will it be possible? Big Daddy's working on a semi. To put a dirty skin on, it would be tricky because of the way our boxes work. And I am not a modder, so I'm a map maker, but I don't know anything about doing the mods and the dirty skins. That's something I'd have to talk to Jeff, Big Daddy, and see if he could work that out. But I don't know because of the way they're actually fill planes that appear on the outside of our box trucks. But he does have a semi-trailer in the works with the labels on the outside as well, so that's something that hopefully we'll have for version 3 completely done. That would be cool. Let me see if I can hit my trigger here. I can never hit it. It's there somewhere. Let me spin this around. Alright, so we're back over here. You can see much more of the factory. We're almost done. We only got 3 more loads of getting this factory up to speed. And Out goes the first one. The silos have been built in the background. Each one of those pieces is coming in individually. And I will tell you how to know when your factory is done building once I fill up these this cement. And I'm going to adjust the ratios so that you don't have a 200,000 gold, if at all possible. But you will have some decent cash coming out. Yeah, semi-trailer is. And your guys get your. Oh, is that the beekeeper mod? I haven't seen that. Uh, I know there's one out there. I'm going to look at it to see if we can use that for the honey. So the next one on the list was the other than the lavender was the peanuts. We're going to do something to bring in a peanut factory of some sort. Maybe make peanut butter, just a simple factory type thing. There's more of the buildings appearing. We're slowly finishing up this place. And once this load's done, we'll have the last load in there. And I'm going to slow down the building speed when this is done too, so we can watch what's going to happen when we get back with the last truck. Let's see. There was another product. It was the peanuts, the lavender. Might do something with the coffee, but we will be bringing back uh, Campbell's in some way, shape, or form. We're going to have to find places for all these new buildings as well. And finish up the storage and those types of things. But there was one other one. What, you guys remember? Mustard, that's it. Mustard. So we got to find something to do with mustard. Probably just a mustard factory. Maybe we'll add something. But I also want to take a look at the vegetables that are down at the greenhouses and utilize those, all the greenhouse products a little bit better. And we can do that in some of our soups, like a cabbage soup and things like that as well. So look for all the products to be used in some way toward another end product like it was. That's the goal. Once that is done, we can look at some other minor building projects like the bridges that we used to have. That would be possible using this method as well. There's tons that we can do as long as you guys are happy with the way this is coming out. So there we go. I'm going to stop the time real quick. We've got one more trailer to fill. And you won't have this many. You'll have a box truck with a little bit of gold when we're done. I actually had it set to 200,000. I wanted to see if the factory would run with with the one fill type complete, and it won't. So we'll probably work the numbers out. It's a lot of little things. So mustard, we'll find a use for mustard. It's going to be version 3, so there's a lot of unfinished things that we want to finish up in version 3 and get all the factory building, maybe some bridges. I don't know, maybe some of the... I don't know about the bridges. It's a tricky thing. We don't have a lot on this map, but there are a few that we might be able to make buildable. And of course, I'm running into trees again. Thank you for the follow there, CKS8739. And I really apologize. My show isn't going to be too long tonight because I need to help my sister deliver a car down the road before too late. So maybe about another 45 minutes, my guess. Once we get through this, I'm going to show you the changes, other changes that are in the current map. If you guys are downloading, the cranes are back up in the air, but we'll take a look over at Johnson Farm. A lot of other stuff has happened too. We moved our server. It's now in Hunter Farmer's house. We're running off a machine in his house because Day 711 is moving, and he won't have the internet access we need to run our server. So a little bit of changes there. Just tons of little things that wasn't a lot to show, but I want you to know that we're moving forward with the progress of making this as close to what you guys like, the building factories and stuff that we had last time. All right, I'm gonna crank this up and jump out because it should be our last load, and we'll see how much of the factory here is built already. It's starting to look relatively operational, and we're not going to do quickly deliver cargo, but you see the yellow box right down below where we fill up the factory. It is constantly there until the factory is done. So one of the things you guys are going to have to remember is don't leave your vehicle in the yellow box. Once the factory is filled up once, 100% of each product, it's going to start building, and it will have enough to complete the product. So the best way to go about building the factories is to stock each individual product at a time. And then when you get to the last product, whatever it is, put it all in there so everything's at 100% when it starts, and then you won't have to worry about it. You see the signs appear. There's going to be the one out here next, and the one over by the railroad will appear. There's the second one. The one by the railroad is going to be behind us. I'm not going to turn around. It's probably there already. It's getting dark out. And almost done. So when the factory is done, and I left quite a bit of room around where the trigger is on this factory. Hopefully we could do that so nobody gets launched up in the air. Thank you for the subscription there, AMG Blazing. Thank you so much for the $10 subscription. I really super appreciate that as well. That is awesome. All right, we're almost done with building this factory. I'm guessing that it should be done any minute. I might have to take, see the lights are coming on now. I might have to take a little bit more of the cement out. I could check that out. But be very careful that you're not in here when it's done. Let's see what we got here. Or you'll see what happens. Yeah, a little bit more concrete out, and then it'll finish up. I might need another truck for some reason, because it's at 100%, and it probably just needs a unload it. Oh, that's right. It only has 20,000, so there will be the last 5,000. All right, the factory is done, as you could see, because that last silo there just covered up the trigger, so it will no longer be accessible. Thank you, 04 Paul, for the $20 donation. Thank you so much. It really does help. Unemployed person like myself. Keeps me going. So when the factory is done, this trigger, once it's empty, will give you the last bit of gold that it'll be switched over to, and that will be the 25,000 that we should get filled up. And I might need a little bit more because for some reason one of our boxes is still on a trigger, so we'll get one more of those wagons over here. But this, and I do have to move the box in under there a little bit now that I see that, will block off the triggers so that you can no longer use the fabric script, and that will also help keep your server lag down once a factory's done. Let me get the last remaining bit of, I think there might be just a little bit left in there because that last box should have deleted itself. So let me get one more cement mixer over here. I might have miscounted. There's a lot of them. And we'll get back to daylight too. So building the factories is just going to require a little bit of keeping it going, making sure you keep that trigger empty and bring your gold to the bank to keep the process going. I'm going to probably up the capacity and reduce the gold a little bit so that it's not as many trips. I'd like to see you have to keep an eye on it for a couple days, maybe 4 times empty your gold, not 10 like we're doing now, but about 4 times to empty it in order to finish the building process. So one more should do it. What we need to do, and if this is bugged, then we'll have to rework something else. I never actually got this far in the process, but because that those garages type or those buildings that the workers set up are on this concrete trigger, or the gold trigger it will be. Once they're emptied, everything should disappear, and you'll never be able to access it again, so it won't be an issue. So let's bring this over and see if there's anything left in there. It's probably just a 1 or 2 if anything, but we'll check it out. And we'll be back in daylight when we get there. So I'm not going to make it extremely excruciating. I think most of the factories, if you remember the way the building process worked, it was multi-stage in PV Rivers, where you had to go through the stage 1, and then which was the foundation construction. We had 3 different stages. We're not going to be able to do that this time, but we're going to utilize the building products all in the first stage. So a little bit extra work unloading them is going to be still a lot less, and we're going to just require about a couple 100,000 of each of the building products, and including, we can even add the furniture to the building products, so you're building on some of the factories. We'll mix it up as we usually do, so they're not all taking the same. All right, so it had 0, but it shows that we have concrete. It's empty, the trigger's empty, and we have a complete factory ready for being used, and the script's been unlocked. Our gold coin's in there somewhere. Oh, there it is. So everything on this factory is fully functional now, and once that thing's completely unloaded for the last time, all your triggers here will be accessible as well. So let's slow down time. I'm going to jump in here and see if I can find... Oh, excuse me. Let's see. Animals, maybe? No, it wasn't animals. It must be its own category, probably. The Caster Food mod comes with these trailers. And these trailers here, we're going to select one and buy it. And let me get some cash for another truck. So we can wheel that sucker around. And they're the ones that allow us to... It's actually just in the trailer itself after doing the testing. That mod comes with a lot of different food product things. We may or may not utilize some of them. But what these modded trailers allow us to do is go to the animal place, and if we use this trailer, so we'll get you the link for this when the time comes. If we use this trailer, we can actually dump animals into the animal triggers that are in the Universal Factory script, and therefore we'll be able to use the different factories. We'll be able to basically, the butcher place, the meat production facility that made the sausage, the bacon, the I forget what else was in there. We had pork chops from the pigs. We had ham. There was several meat products. All the meat products except for the chicken fillets will be coming back, and we'll make an adjustment so we will be able to open up Campbell's and maybe return the pizza place. I don't know, because we're going to run into, with 3 more factories, quite a long list of factories as it is already. Pretty long. Putting a few more on is one thing. We'll see how it goes. But definitely be opening up a lot more possibilities. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. The crane update is out there. Just hit exclamation point link 1, link 2, link 3, or link 4. And grab those. If you were here, not the last release, but the release before that, we maxed out how many downloads could be on a link before it was disabled. So just mix it up and randomly grab one of those links, and those links should be okay. If a link gets used too much, which is like 40 gigs of downloads, which is not a lot of people with a 1.4 gigabyte map, then they disable it, and then you'll have to use one of the other ones. But with all the people that are using the map now, that was the first time that we ran into that issue. And hopefully it won't happen again with multiple links. If it does, there's always another way. Also, the original link, and I want to say this for anybody that watches on YouTube, because I always get the same questions from everybody. Let's grab some cows here. Confirm. Yes. Now, if you're watching this later on YouTube and you want to know where to get the files, all you ever have to do is go to the Twitch page, twitch.tv/DadgeNet, and then type in the text exclamation point link 1, link 2, link 3, or link 4, and it will get you the links even when we're not broadcasting. So you can always just come to the page when we're not broadcasting, type it in the chat box, and pop up the links. For those people on YouTube, it's very simple. Also, after the initial bunch of people get the download and we're not worried about blowing out the main link update, if you go to the Twitch page, and I can kind of show you this real quick. Let me see. I'm going to scroll down so you're not watching the video and bring this over here. If you come to the Twitch page and you click on the PV17 V2 files, it's going to bring you to the Dropbox, and you could see that I also check the date. There it is. You can download the latest map as well anytime just by coming to the Twitch page and clicking on that link right there. So anybody can get it at any time if I don't get the links posted in other places. Just remember that, and you'll be good to go. Let me get that set back up, and hopefully I didn't crash anything. Nope, there we go. We're broadcasting still. Amazing. We had thunderstorms come through, and I was kind of worried about that, but we're good. 2 questions. Box truck doesn't unload boards to make pallets. 2, does map download require a restart? All right. First question. The box truck, we can take care of that, but I didn't realize that. Everybody's been bringing the pallets. There's probably only a pallet trigger for the boards. So if you have the we'll make the changes at some point. It's not going to happen tonight. I'm going away tomorrow for a week, so next show will be in 2 weeks. We'll try to get that up for 2 weeks from. I'm going to be gone all week, so there's not going to be anything to show on Friday. Going to go home with my kids and spend some time with them because I couldn't be with them on Father's Day. So we will look at that and get the extra trigger on those in for this, for an update for you guys. But if you run into the problem, just bring them to the warehouse, dump them into the warehouse, which I know you can put boards into the warehouse, and then recreate the pallets from the warehouse. It will take pallets of boards. I didn't even think about that, not having an object trigger. So that is that question. You will need a restart when we go to version 3 of the map. Anytime I do a major version, it will need to be restarted. And the building factories is going to have so many adjustments and recreations that I think this was a trigger I made acceptable for cows. Let's see. Yep. So I unloaded my cows and I got 200,000 because I don't own this factory yet. But we'll adjust the prices and stuff. But there you go. I don't know how much it costs to buy the cows, but the price basically any of our scripts, the UF scripts will now take animals. So we'll be bringing in, that'll be changing back to what it was, the coal. But any of the UF scripts can take animal products as well. So we'll look around at the different places that it was a test. 0 for Paul. Have I seen a list of suggestions on the forums? I will take a look at them and see what we can knock off that list relatively easy. But for now, the main concentration is going to get it the buildable factories and introduce the new factories and get back some work with the animals and all that fun stuff. So this is actually a test of what's going to be coming in version 3. This won't be in version 2 because all of the factories need to be redone. And that was the first one. It was my test project all week. Just finished it up today. I've been playing the map a lot too, running my farm on the server just to get an idea of what else we want to make changes with. There's going to need to be some space made for the new build. There's a lot of space still left on this map, so we'll bring in things where we can. But I also like to keep the factories near the railroads, so hopefully we can get Campbell's on the railroad to make it train accessible, and some of the other new factories as well. Lots of cool little things that we have, and I will take a look at the factories. I mean, all the suggestions you guys have to see what we can do to keep improving it. So one of the things that we discussed last time, and it is in the new version that's linked there, is you now have the space down this side of the hangar. So when you do your update tonight, just make sure your hangars are empty and they're moving out in this direction quite a ways. So keep this side empty as well. And then once that's done, actually, if your hangars are closed, yeah, that'll mess up. You might want to empty them. I don't know if the stuff doesn't shift with the hangars. It'll just mess it all up. So make sure your hangars are empty before you do the update so that your vehicles and stuff inside are all cleared out. One train for the whole map would be fun. I'm going to look into a few less transfers on the train, making some of the products more accessible and not have to be transferred. There's a couple of them to sell off from the factories that have to be transferred twice. So I'm going to try to look into making it so that they can be sold off on their line, their train line, for a little bit less price. A lot of the economy. So the more trains you have to cycle through a product through will increase the price on that factory. Basically, how that would work is if I'm taking vodka, which is, or whatever, let's jump into a train. If I'm on this train and I have a product, which we have several, the beer factory, for instance, we can put a sell point. Currently, there is no sell point for beer on this train, nor is there a sell point for the dairy products on this train. So you have to transfer it to another train to get it sold off if you're just going to strictly use the trains. What we'll do is, yeah, the quick delivery, that's going to happen. But what we're going to do is make it so that there are more like concrete and those products, there's going to be more incentive, and you cannot build you won't be able to build the factories on the train line. You have to use the trucks to build them, just the way it's going to be. So I didn't mention that. But if you're going to use Sam Adams, for instance, on this one, you'd have to transfer it twice to get it to the, or maybe twice, maybe once, but it will include a cheaper place to sell Sam Adams, a few dollars cheaper, not a lot. But if you want to use the same train line and not have to transfer it from one train to another, you'll be able to, we'll look into making more sell points on the rails for each of the products. Let me see if I can buy some here. Right now, we'll load up some cranberry lambic, but there is no cranberry lambic sales points on, whoops, on this train line. So it would require us to go down to the next station, offload it, load it onto another train. Can we increase the speed of the train? It could be done. I don't think we'll do it. Maybe we'll run through, you know, it's one of those things. We're going to be decreasing drastically. The train gets hard to stop when you have it going too fast. But we're going to be decreasing the products, how fast they're made, other than the initial factories. So you'll be able to keep up with them a lot easier. What if all three trains went to the same place in like the middle of the map? Like a train warehouse. It would require a lot of landscaping and a lot of work. So for this map, it's not going to happen. You can access, the way this was originally designed is that you can get a product from one place to another by transferring through trains. We can increase the capacity on the trains. We could do something that way so it's less trips. Maybe make it so that we have a full factory's worth 200,000 can make it into a single train of each product, that type of thing. But the amount of work to get 3 railroads through on this map is not going to happen, because we wouldn't see the map till a long time. There's just so much stuff going on this map to reroute a whole train, especially when they don't cover the same areas. In the next version, and maybe in I probably will do it in version 2, I'll do the storage update and then just drop it into version 3 when it's done, so we can do an update on version 2 with the storage. We'll take care of that relatively quickly as well, because I want to get all the greenhouse products and all the orchard products into, and whiskey is not in the main warehouse as well. So we'll take care of that before we complete this map, and we'll give you one more version 2 update with that in it, and that'll be kind of pretty much it with that one before we fully go all in on version 3 of the map with the buildable factories. Yeah, you would like a way to set a waypoint on the train to have it stop there. Well, I can't do that either. I'm not a miracle worker, but yeah, you're gonna just have to get used to it. So yeah, any other questions out there? We're gonna end the show probably in another 20 minutes because I got stuff I gotta do. But I wanted to keep you guys caught up with what's gonna happen, what the plans are. One more version round of version 3. Well, we'll have a few minor updates for storage to finish version 2 up to keep you guys going. And then version 3 will come along sometime probably later this summer with all the buildable factories and any other building projects and a few new factories added in. And then when that's complete, hopefully go into the winter with another project that will probably be the final project, because it's gonna be, if all works out as planned, thank you, Doc, for the $50
Take your sister out
donation.
for a great dinner.
Yeah, I'll do that. Actually, she's coming home with us. We'll go out. I'm probably gonna take my kids out too. Well, when I go home for the week, and then summer's gonna be a little slow, so there's a lot of things, activities. Even when I get back, I already have a few things planned next week, so I will be working and playing and testing and converting one factory at a time. But you're probably for version 3 looking at a couple months, just probably looking sometime. What is it? It's only June, late August, early September for version 3 to be completely done. If would be my goal. Uh, and that will be pretty complete map as well. And we'll have all you guys that send in your banners for the museum, they'll make it in there before for version 3 before it's released as well. And as the donations keep coming in, I gotta keep that back back to lurk mode. You have the factories and the garages. The garages are for parking vehicles. The banners still have to be made, but it will be when the fact I have a list of the ones that have to be made, and they'll all appear all at once. We do those things in batches, so you still have time. I'm gonna be gone this week and next week. So if you have a banner, send it to alberth@gmail.com. If you're streaming, Pleasant Valley will get you in the museum with all the other banners that are already in there. Some of them need some updating. A lot of stuff needs updating. It's just overwhelming amount of stuff that I want to do that I never have time to do. So we're taking care of the I I'm guessing that that's most important for everybody is to keep the features out there before, get the stuff that the little bugs here and there working and get those things finished up. I mean, yeah, it's nice, and I really do appreciate a lot all the help you guys have given me, and I will recognize you in the museum in full for but it is hours of work just doing that. Where is the animal buy market? It's in the same place as it is on Goldcrest Valley. You can buy the animals. Now, one of the things I can show you guys real quick is I don't know what we're going to use, but the Castor Food Mod is out there right now, and he has a meat and sausage. We're going to use my own uh, place, but there will be these storage camp. We're going to use our own butcher place that makes different products, but he does have these storage facilities where you can place them on the map and actually bring those cows and stuff to store them a little bit closer. So that's something that you guys would be able to do, and then you'll be able to take them back out. That is where this mod is where I figured out actually how to do the buildable factories, because it is one of the only mods now that has a output for shows blocks basically on the output channel rather than making pallets. So that was a big discovery that helped out quite a bit. So this is the food silo. I can unload. Oh, it's not accepted there. Wait, I'm not in the right trigger. Maybe, is that the food silo or is that, no, this is the food one up here. That's why I wasn't paying attention to my labels. There, food silo. There we go, unload. So once it's unloaded in this train, we could transfer it to a sell point or a factory. More board mills would be good. There's actually 4 on the map right now in different parts, and they're pretty scattered out. So I don't know if it's necessary. You are aware that there's the big mills that make, and the beekeeper mod. We'll take a look at that. I want to see if I can customize it. I haven't even looked at it yet, but that is definitely something I'd be interested in. I don't know a thing about it, but it might save some work if I can add wax or if does it output bees? What is it? Anybody know any further details on the beekeeper? Does it output honey? How does that all thing work? farmer's market would be good, can get back. A farmer's market would be possible, but we would need to use the fabric script for it. And I'm going to wait because we're going to have about 20 more instances of fabric script running on this map for building the factories. And I want to make sure that everybody can handle it before we go into additional projects that use it. Granted, with the building factories, they're only used once. So once they stop, they're shut down and it's not going to be running the script. So when you guys start building your factories, you might want to concentrate to just a few at a time so you don't have all 20 instances of building all at the same time. And actually, the way you'll have to unlock them, it might you might be required. It has honey and milk. So it produces honey. I'm going to get it to produce wax. And do you bring bees to it? I would love to know exactly. I'm hoping I wanted to be able to buy the bees on lightweight pallets in the store to stock the beehives to produce the honey and the wax. Okay, building them, that works too. So yeah, we'll work on that and see how it works. As long as we can get it so that they produce our honey. I don't even know if I would definitely need the wax for my candles. We can use honey maybe at the sugar refinery as an additional product or something like that. We'll see what we do with that without adding a whole new factory in just to use honey. We'll find places that we can use it, but that will definitely be taken a look at for sure. So I think that's pretty much what I wanted to cover for you guys. It's not a lot, but the most exciting thing is we're going to get that much closer to being able to build our factories next time around this, and it's a little bit different, but they're fully functional when they're done. And you'll actually get paid for building them. So I hope that works out. Every factory is going to be a challenge. I could show you basically for anybody that's interested in how it works. We'll finish up the show and show you in the editor exactly what I had to do in order to build a factory. And it's quite extensive, but why not give you a sneak peek on how the whole system works? That way, if anybody else wants to experiment with doing anything on their maps, they'll know exactly how I did it. Um, and it's basically nesting two different scripts, just like I did in version PV Rivers, but I used it, the UPK kit had uh, lot more functionality, so I used that. It had a lot of the things that I wanted to use, but I'll give you an idea of exactly what goes into making a factory work with the fabric script before we end the show tonight. Give it a minute to load up this massive map. Now, actually doesn't take any more that much more resources either to build the factories because it is just an instance of a stripped down instance of the fabric script, and we're using all the building components from the original factory into. And I'll take a look at a couple other ones. I have no idea. I've been working on this one. How did I get my desktop like that? That's a very common question. As a matter of fact, it's a program called Stardock Fences, exclamation point fences is what it does, and it allows you to draw these fences on your desktop and create a fence here and give it a title. And then you can just organize your icons into these little fences. So exclamation point fences, I believe, is the link. Somebody wants to try it out. It will bring you to their website, and it's only like $10 for the program, at least when I got it. You can also remove the fences, but they roll up, so you can have them set to roll up and down like this. What you don't see is I have them on all three monitors, these boxes, but it makes it convenient. A double click on the title bar will roll up any of these boxes so I don't have to see them all cluttered on my desktop. And a double click again will keep them open, or you could just roll over the ones that are closed and it will show you all the stuff. It's really handy and it's great. And you can set each fence as well to like this new stuff. Anytime I download a new file, it automatically goes into this folder so I know where to find it. You can set it up to direct new downloads into a single folder. You can make a folder portal. So if I wanted to draw here and create a folder portal for Dropbox on my desktop, there's my Dropbox. Instantly has everything that's in Dropbox is shown in that folder on my desktop. Now, I don't want that on there because I got enough folders on here, but that's how easy it is to make little folders on there. So that is fences, and that was good cover while we were coming in here to take a look at the factory as it stands. So you could see down at the very bottom, I made a new instance of the fabric script called Concrete Plant, and inside it you will see all the workings of the input resources. Thank you for the follow there, Reliant Robin 93. Thank you for the follow. So you have the input trigger resources and we have an output trigger resources. One thing that you need to have is a visibility nodes on your product that you're outputting. So this product in the long run is going to be changed to the work project. We're going to rename this project. Before in the, here we'll go to it now because I showed you project isn't registered. I got to register a new fill type that's called project, but we're never going to take out project. There is no, the silo trigger has to be there, but it's buried underground so nobody can ever take stuff out, because if you could, the factory would unbuild itself. So basically the fill type is going to be labeled project. So we have that there. Now the biggest thing is I had to add this visibility nodes section. And it was critical disassembling the whole entire factory and putting it into the visibility nodes. But there's a very important step to this process that makes it take a lot longer than I wish it had. Now with the UPK kit, it was able to hide everything underground. In this one, it doesn't. It's there, but it turns it invisible. So anything that has to have, that has collision, has to be in this list right here as a visible object. Some of them, and it has to be the first link. Now, some of them it's okay to have another object below it because it's a non-collisionable object, and you'll see that in some of these. These objects don't have any collision, so they can be there. But anything that does have to collision has to be directly off of the main folder, the visibility nodes. And what it does is it steps through each and every one of them as the factory is being built and makes them visible, just like it does on the input of basically the orchards, which is how he has them set up. You don't see, we'll scroll over here to the orchards. They're on the input triggers and you don't see these items until you drop off water, but they are in a folder called, he has them in a folder called wood trigger, which works fine to show them as it's filled up, and when it's full it shows all of them, and as it empties it deletes all of them, but they don't the wood trigger part did not work in the tip trigger. I mean, in the output trigger. So it needed to be named, as I found in that animal mod that I just showed you guys. The output trigger for the other one had to have be named visibility nodes, and then every single piece of a factory has to be put into it so it's not nested down. So let's take a look at Sam Adams, for instance. The old Sam Adams. Every piece of the Sam Adams factory, all of these pieces that are in this folder have to be brought in. Anything that's deeper, like this building here, I have to look at it and see if the ad strip. Now, an ad strip can be turned to non-collisionable, so it's not going to be an issue. But if it was a collisionable object that had to stay collisionable, I would have to cut it out and put it somewhere in the building process. And also, everything in the building process kind of has to make sense on what order it appears, so you don't have objects floating in the air as the factory is being built. So each one of these objects that goes into the beer factory, and this one has quite a few, you may have a couple objects that actually have to be pulled out and built separately, so and reassembled, all in order. That's the first part, and it is kind of crazy. Is there a way you can add some kind of cart to haul vehicles? It's a possibility. We'll look into that down the road. Uh, Objects like this one though, that see, it doesn't have any collision on it. And it wouldn't matter much because you're not going to run into it on the slab because it's way up in the air. So I have to check each and every one to see if it has to be moved from its parent group and put into that group separately, or if I can copy that whole group together. And it's a long hours painstaking process figuring out the order that you want the factory to be built and put into, and it has to be done for each one. See, now this one has rigid body, but it's also up in the air, so you'll be able to drive underneath it. It'll be invisible, but if they have rigid body and they're on this slab, then they have to be the first item in the group, or it won't turn off that collision and people will be bumping into the invisible objects. So you could see that just that one factory, there are several pieces in this folder that go into making it, including the beer factory UF. Now, with that is what runs the factory. That has to go in second to last. And if I come over here to this silo here that blocks the trigger, that's what you want in last. Something to block the access so that they can no longer build. So you'll see I load up just before the factory's done. All the visuals for the concrete factory come in. And then once that's there, so you can use the factory, the oil tank covers up the trigger. So that's basically just a hierarchy of when those appear. And because you can't ever empty the project total and you won't see it again, there's no way that the factory can disappear unless somebody goes in and edits their save game file. So the oil tank comes in last, covers it up. Just a workaround, but it works. Also, with that, there's all that has to load in at once. The workings for the factory has to stay in that folder. So if there's any triggers or anything, they have to be blocked off where people can't run into them. And that's why I'm putting buildings to block off the triggers and stuff so people can't use them. Or if an object absolutely has to stay, we'll have to put another block on it so that people can't run into it. It's just something that has to be done. Now, product 2 is used to control, it has a visibility nodes as well, but that's used to control those extra boxes that appear. And again, this was a little tricky too. Because the factory builds piece by piece till it's 100%, if I did that with the visibility nodes section, we would end up with the last box that appears covering up a trigger when the factory is completely built or when the concrete or gold is completely filled. And I didn't want that happen. I wanted them to appear rather quickly. So what I did was basically put those boxes in one, two, three, four, five, and then I stuck a whole bunch of 20 to be exact, empty transform groups so that they appear really quick and then just empty stuff appears for the rest of the building process. So they're there blocking those triggers. Lots of little workarounds, and then you have the silo trigger to empty those out to take those away when it's done. Now, if there was a way to move in the fabric script to move rather than uh, hide these objects, if there was a way to add a hide position underground, I wouldn't have had to go through all this, but I tried working on that for a couple days and couldn't pull it off. Uh, and then I thought, well, if I could just add an initial fill level then and use it as part of the recipe, then people couldn't overfill the factory either, and that would have worked without having the external fill trigger out there either. But initial fill level would be an awesome thing if anybody ever figures out how to take one of these products that go into the map, one of these resources, or goes into the building on a fabric script, and basically where it has resource number one, if I could add a user attribute that says on startup, add this much product, then I could add another product that's set to a set amount, excuse me, and people wouldn't be able to overbuild the factory and we wouldn't run in. So basically, it would require an additional user attribute, probably called initial fill level, is what they called it in the UPK script. But somebody would have to write it to detect that, and I would be able to set it to the amount of 200,000. Add that as a product that's also needed to build the factory, and then when that runs out, you wouldn't be able to. That's what the visibility group would be hanging on instead of having to add a new one. It would have made it so much simpler, but I couldn't do it, so we did it the hard way. But now that it's done, we know we can do it this way. Uh, if it was done though, we would be able to do more with an initial fill level on things such as PV Rivers. We had farmers market, for instance, would probably be not the farmers market, but the fairgrounds would require an initial fill level type thing in order to control when it runs. Uh, some of the other things like the cemetery, the bridges that went up and down required a product that was in there, and we just rotated it back and forth, so it created one product. So many things, but we don't have that functionality, so some things will be left behind. But at least we can build factories with this thing. So if anybody has any further questions, I gotta run in just a couple minutes, get them out there. Thank you so much, everybody, for the donations. Doc, really appreciate it. Zero for Paul. And Rotors, thank you as well. I would love to do the fairgrounds or something similar, but I don't know if it's going to be possible yet. So we have to see first step is see what resources that building the factories is going to use. Secondly is figuring out a way we could technically use this same process on a fairgrounds, but I don't know how many. A lot of tests would have to be done for that as well, because I don't know if our resources in are limited or not on the fabric script. I know there's 4 here, but if we did a fairgrounds, there'd have to be like 20, and a lot of testing, go at least 20 to make it worthwhile, and that would be quite an undertaking using this the fabric script. Not saying it's not possible, but it would be a trimmed down version, and we got to make sure everything else works before I even get into that. So, if that ever comes, it would be down the road after the first release of PV3 when we're looking at expanding and adding stuff. at that point. So good questions though. I really appreciate all the questions anytime you guys need it. Where's the fourth board mill? All right. Well, basically there's three, but there's four ways to make boards. So I probably confused you a little bit because you can make boards directly at Cogent by using wood chips into the dump thing there, but also you can make boards at this mill right here on pallets. So there's two ways. Cogent runs and creates the boards and they stack up right over here. So there's two places at Cogent that run independently of each other. Then you have the two sawmills, the one in the center of the map, which is right here, that will create boards, and the one that's all the way over on the far side. So right over here is number 4. So there are 4 places to create boards, and if you have them all going, you shouldn't have too much of a problem. Again, there's going to be a lot of balancing of the factories. We'll make sure, and we want to make it so that that feature where you can upgrade the factories as well is usable. Right now, there's no necessary reason to need to upgrade them to produce more because they produce faster than we can keep them filled. So we're going to rebalance that a little bit and rebalance the prices so the final end products like Kellogg's plant and those products fetch more money but take much longer to make. So you're slowing down so you're not having to constantly with the three of us that have been mostly working on our map. If each of us took one factory and worked on it all day long, that's about all we could keep running. And there's 20 some of them on this map with more coming. So look at filling up a factory to last you a couple weeks, not a couple days in the long run. So that should make a big difference. All right, guys, thanks for showing up. We'll look at another show somewhere around a week from this Friday because I'll be gone through Friday and then we'll get working and slowly get this stuff. Maybe I'll work on. Thank you so much, Rotors, for the
Make it an
9.95.
even 100.
Thank you.
Have a good dinner on us, lol.
All right. Thank you so much for that donation, Rotors. I really super appreciate it. Uh, Yeah, so I'll try to knock off next week when I get back the final fixes with the storage for PV version 2 and get that so you guys are done. And then we're looking at one factory at a time, depending on the factories. I think, fortunately, I hope. Let's take a look before we end here. Some of these factories just have a ton of pieces, and it's really how they're reassembled. But they all have to be put into one group and they all have to be the initial object in that group. So some of these have just an amazing amount of pieces to them. And see how these are nested? They all have to be pulled out and reassembled. So it's basically the factory's there, but it's rebuilding all of them so that they work. People aren't running into things. I'm probably going to have to put one of those silos on several of these to block off the building process at the end, or maybe like use this building to block off the building process on this one. A lot has to be figured out, and there's a lot of factories to build. We may not end up building all of them. We shall see, but we're definitely going to be building a lot of them, and uh, it's going to be time consuming. So it's going to be at least a couple months. So hopefully, end of the summer, we'll have everything ready for that and get you guys going into the winter while we're working on the next project. Oh, yeah, that's true too. The beehive may have stuff. I'm gonna take a look at that. If it might make the process go a lot faster. If I can convert the factories using whatever they do, it might be the solution. So we'll see what happens. And obviously always looking for ways. So that'll be my next step because I didn't even know it existed until today. We'll take a look at that and see if it can speed up the process. You never know, but if it doesn't take me several hours, the ideal thing would be able to take everything that's in a factory group because it's already in its own folders in different steps to be able to just copy these out and highlight the whole factory and paste it with putting the workings of the factory last. And if that can be done with the beehive thing and I don't have to reassemble them piece by piece, it would have gone 10 times faster. So we'll take a look and see how they're doing it. Maybe we'll come up with a better solution, but at least we have a solution and it can be done. And that, yeah, we're going to get it going. I'm looking forward to it because I really missed having that. So thanks everybody for showing up. I got some running to do. And I will be back a week from Friday and we'll catch up and let you know what we found out. And we'll hopefully have an update if we can squeeze in all the storage, the last remaining storage things at the main storage warehouse. We'll get that done for you as well. Have a good week. Happy Father's Day, everybody. And we'll see you on the other side. Thank you so much.